this may come to light tomorrow, so then he went forth with it. It was not done to get rid of your petition, throw it under the bus, or do any of that stuff. This has to do with us and legality of the ordinance issue and the town vote. That was our concern, because we've always planned on June 10th, and it looked like we were not going to be able to do that. So we need to be in accordance with where we are. So my question is, if the petition still stays the same and goes on June 10th and gets voted in by majority or town vote, then what happens to that when we have a later vote?
Well, they wrote in a sentence last night that that would be revised and repealed and superseded, so it would go by that.
You're talking about the sentence in the petition?
If we voted it in on if the town voted it in on June 10th, and then on July 10th, all of what the planning board is proposing gets voted in, it would be my understanding from the sentence that they wrote in last night that that would take that out.
It just says enacted on the same date.
Right, what she's talking about, David, this is what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about, and at the time, I didn't even have any awareness of this other thing anyway, and it's something that you would always just write as a matter of due course. It's not like, I mean, that's actually one of the other things that's really annoying through this whole process is this continuous 202 area code approach to all this, okay? I live in frickin' 207, that's Maine, I don't act like 202. And I'm getting tired of the 202 area code blues here. That's Washington, D.C. Okay? So what we wrote, we were looking at this at the last minute last night and trying to make sure that, you know, because Bruce had asked about this, we have the repeal of prior ordinances, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but back in 2010, Paula wrote, you know, a long recitation of all the ordinances that we were repealing, because at the time we had like a flood ordinance, a shoreline zoning ordinance, a subdivision ordinance. We have all these like little ordinances, and basically what she wrote back then was a paragraph repealing all that stuff. So since we had already repealed all that stuff, and it was confusing for us even reading it last night, okay, and again, I had no idea about this other little issue, okay, we were talking and we go, this revision supersedes and replaces all previous versions and amendments to the Clifton land use ordinance. I mean, clearly the purpose of that last night at 8:30 when we were finishing up the meeting was to make sure that what we had approved, the amendments that we had approved in March of 2011 at the annual town meeting were eliminated. I mean, it was just as simple as that, all right? So there was no, again, no idea about anything else that was coming. And again, at the meeting, I mean, I've known about this petition for several weeks, obviously, and because I posted it on the planning board website. So clearly, when I wrote on there for what I was going to have, you know, again, being completely transparent, I wrote what the draft was, what the final one was going to look like, with the June 10th date on top of it, right on the web page, so people would clearly be able to identify the fact that what they were seeing, you know, online, and what they were going to see when they were going to be voting, okay? So again, that's what I did. So last night when I went home, after having this conversation with Carol in the parking lot, I thought to myself, well, so I don't have to print this thing up a bunch of times and have a bunch of different dates on it. What should I do? I know, I'll put down the 1st of July on there, all right? So then I went back this morning, because I woke up, I thought, did I read everything I needed to read? So I thought, maybe I should just change the other thing. I thought, because there's the whole thing about voting it in. And so then it was like the effective date, okay? So originally it said something like the effective date of this ordinance or any amendments thereto shall be the day of their enactment, okay, so by the town. And then I wrote down, if none other is specified. So those were the big edits of 6:30 this morning of if none other is specified, because I put the July 1st date at the top of the page. Okay, again, not knowing, and I wanted to make sure that the enactment date didn't get confused, you know, because we were going to vote on it. I knew we probably wouldn't be voting on July 1st, so if we voted on July 23rd, You know, I didn't know that was gonna be the date, so I just simply did. I mean, most of the stuff that gets done by this board, you know, is done for some sort of practical, common sense, working, blue-collar person reason. Not for any sort of 202 area code, you know, thing that keeps getting kind of wafted up into us. I mean, we don't have time for that foolishness. And we're not making any money on it. I mean, I think I might be getting paid a penny an hour at this point.
I think you're okay.
Probably.
My point, I question whether they should have left in the section on repeal of ordinances if it should have not just said, this is to repeal the 2010 ordinance as amended in 2011 and change to that. That's what I think would have been sufficient, but that's, you know,
Maybe that's the public hearing.
Yeah.
That's why I've said, I think you ought to say, this isn't necessarily the draft we're gonna put out to vote. I think you've gotta keep it open a little bit longer and look at it a little bit closer. That's all I'm saying. And I do that from being concerned for the town.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Bruce, you're the last one.
Okay.
We need to get out of here.
Personally, I would like to see you move both of them to the same date, 45 or whatever days out, so there isn't a problem with them thinking we're trying to, that was not the purpose. When that was suggested, I brought it up last night, it was the idea that, you know what, could we accidentally end up with 2 ordinances in force unless we specifically repealed the old one? I would like to see the votes on the same day. I think they should both be voted on. That said, I can tell you from our experience, and you've all seen the same thing, Paula will never be satisfied with the ordinance. Never, ever, ever. At some point, you have to accept that this is very good. We've already said there are issues we are going to continue to work on and bring before the town in the future. You've been to almost all the meetings. Sadly, you haven't.
I'm sorry, I have kids and Cub Scouts and all kinds of other
No,
events
I
that happen
understand
to be
that,
on
but
the
you made
same
it
night
sound
as
as
your
if you
public.
were
I
there
have
a
watched
lot.
videos. Thankfully, Jess was videotaping all of the meetings, so I have meetings that I did not attend, which I did attend quite a few.
Right,
The
but,
ones that I did, and I did watch online.
no, that is good.
So I don't really appreciate the accusation that I haven't been
Okay, so
there.
Okay,
you've
let's,
seen them.
okay.
I've
The
been
one
there.
thing I'd like to say is, when it comes to not understanding sound standards, a call to one of us
Oh,
would be good.
Bruce, I just learned about this new standard Friday night.
That standard.
You have not talked about this in any of your transparent, open process of the past several months. This new standard is brand new, Friday, first ever heard of it.
You haven't been reading the things we've been posting on.
I have, you
You're
have
on the
never
part first
mentioned
about it, sorry, just
L90A.
saying.
Okay.
This has never been brought up until Friday, not even a week ago. I did not have time to fully understand the logarithms.
Well, I think.
Just trying to say one thing.
Yes.
I think, and I appreciate what Bruce is saying on the same day. You find the petition itself has a specific date in there.
Yeah,
And if there are changes there, it's going to cause a problem.
I think there's gonna be problems no matter what we do. No matter
More
what.
problems.
I think from this right now, again, our job is to either accept the ordinances as written. We have public hearings coming up, we have other things going on, we have a town to run. I am looking for a motion. 45 days from now is the 23rd of June. Whether we want to vote on Monday, it's a Monday. Whether we want it that day or not.
Yeah, and please consult your attorney, town attorney, just in terms of schedule, make sure that the schedule lines up. You have to have a public hearing, you meet all those requirements.
Correct.
As well as the requirements for
Correct.
the actual vote. There's issues, I'm hesitant to set a specific deadline
Correct.
without that schedule.
10 days public hearing, right? The public hearing has to be 10 days before the vote. And then 2 weeks notice for the public hearing. So can
If we
we work
stick
that out
with
on a
July
calendar just to
1st.
make sure?
You have to have 1 or 2 public hearings, because that was always a question as well.
Just
If
one.
you wanted to do two, you could do back to back.
Back to back, oh, okay, okay. All right, so Steph, you gotta say that again.
10
I didn't
days
get it.
prior to the
To the
vote
vote.
you have to have the public hearing before 10 days.
Okay, so that's June 13th.
Before the absentee ballot, so,
And
for this part.
Carol, let me just, rather than make it 45 days, can you
Yeah.
make it 46 or 47?
we can make it.
Buffer zone.
Why
The reason
are we compacting it? So that if
Well,
somebody counts
we
one day
don't.
wrong,
The reason why I bring it up is I know for the components of the land use ordinance, and I'm sure there are some in there, at least arguably, like the zoning ordinances, there are
Correct.
specific procedures that have to be in a newspaper notice.
Right,
set for
right.
so many days. And the public hearing, my preference would be just that that public hearing occurs before absentee ballots
Yep.
are available.
Correct,
So
yes.
all I'm asking for is make sure the schedule lines up with all these particular
Are we
times.
safe to
When
go,
do you have
to
to,
stick with the July 1st thing?
when do you have to have ballots out?
Monday.
No, I mean, for
For how
this
many
one,
days?
for this one.
30 days.
How many days
Before the
before the vote?
30, like 30.
Do you have, huh?
30 days.
You have to have ballots out 30 days.
June 1st.
So that's June 1st.
But June 1st for what?
To have.
That they have to have the ballots written, absentees.
If we were gonna go with July 1st, you're talking about?
Correct.
Oh,
you don't, never mind.
Get it. Absentee ballots have to be ready by June 1st. So we should have a public meeting before June 1st.
I think you want to do all that sooner than what you're talking.
notice requirement under the zoning ordinance statute says before adopting new zoning ordinance or amending an existing zoning ordinance, if that's what this is, the municipal authority must post and publish notice of the public hearing in accordance with, at least 13 days before the public hearing, at least 2 times in a newspaper that complies with Title I, Section 601, and has a general circulation in the municipality. Then it gives 12 days. The date of the first publication must be at least 12 days before the hearing, and the date of the second publication must be at least 7 days before the hearing. Just want to make sure you're taking those into account.
oh, sure. So, somebody help me with dates here.
So for the public hearing, if you said you wanted to have that before the absentee ballots, it would have to occur before June 1st. But then you have to count back 12 days
Right, for the first notice.
for your first notice of the public hearing, and that's your
13
deadline.
days.
Oh, 13?
13 days.
Okay, so 13 days before June 1st.
Is the 19th of May.
Is that doable?
That's a Monday, which is only a
10
week
days
and a
away.
half away, 10 days away. I don't think it's doable.
Just as a matter, logistically, usually the BDN needs a
How
few
many-
days.
Right.
What?
The BDN usually needs a few days to publish it. My suggestion is look to perhaps the last week of May,
Yeah.
early, which would be before June 1st, probably have a public hearing that weekend, the notice of plan.
Okay. He said the last week of May, which will be, because Memorial and holidays gonna factor into there.
Monday,
So,
Monday the 26th.
26th?
For Memorial.
Public hearing, the 26th.
That's Memorial Day, you can't do
Can't
that.
do that.
How about Tuesday night, the 27th?
What's the earliest date you can do a public hearing? How many days we have to have it posted?
It's got to be posted 13 in the
13
town office. If you're complying with the
Okay.
notice requirements regarding zoning ordinances. And then the newspaper's got to be 12 and 7 days before.
Okay. Can we do something on the maybe the 22nd? Is that too soon? Eric, can you get that thing
You
ready?
can do whatever you want, I mean, that's all, we're done.
You don't-
Yeah.
Okay.
You just tell me
I
when
just think we need to do
you want people to show up and we'll do presentations, et cetera. You just set a schedule, it's up to you.
Are you going under the zoning timelines just to cover yourself?
Yeah.
In case it happens to be?
Yeah.
Well, parts of the ordinance may be zoning ordinances, and if parts of it are zoning ordinances, then it may make the whole thing a zoning ordinance. I don't know the answer to the question, but we might as well comply with those things. What's the harm? I don't see the.
The 22nd, the Thursday. Is that okay? For public hearing?
May 22nd.
I think it might be kind of close. We'd have to have notice in tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have my ways with Bangor. If I call it today, I'm
And
sure.
if they need a second one, it would have to be how many days before?
This weekend, if that's supposed to.
22nd doesn't beat the 13 days before the hearing. I mean, the,
Usually it's the first week of the month, but we'll do it whenever, it doesn't matter, it's just do it all off the calendar map and we'll work with it.
And I'm asking 13
They
days
get
from this.
posted 13 days prior to.
Have to be posted.
okay, so we're here today. And what are you looking at June 1st as? Being X amount of days before a vote?
That's when, that's when, how many days do ballots have to be
30, so we gotta consider that,
to do?
present and voting and stuff.
So if we put them on,
So if our bottom line, this is what I'm confused with, our bottom line is July 1, which is written wherever. I mean, let's just use that as a ballpark so that I can get the dates straight.
So,
Then 30 days prior to that, we have to have,
say if they were available there.
in a second,
Right.
to have what?
Absentee ballots.
Absentee ballots, okay, so,
So you're gonna use a referendum process, is what you're telling me then?
correct,
Okay.
June 2,
Firm that up.
okay. This is just thinking out loud. So, how many days before the absentee ballot do we have to have a public hearing?
Let's go back 13.
You just have to have it 10 days
10
before the vote,
days.
before the vote. And so the absentee ballot thing doesn't matter. You could just have it the day before you have the absentee ballots ready, right?
As long as that public hearing occurs before the absentee ballots are available.
Okay. so-
Well, and by law, 10 days before the vote, so you're well.
But the vote would be when the absentee ballots go out, is that right?
No,
No,
I don't,
they'll send out the ballots,
so it's time
to return them.
yeah. I think we need to set a date for the hearing first.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm trying to
the voting day.
July 20th.
Are we restricted
Done
on,
it.
I know we have to have the public hearing at least 10 days before the vote. Is there any other restrictions on that from today?
What do you mean?
For a public hearing?
Well, Mr. Pottle wanted to,
You have to publicize it for 13 days, right?
No. It's
For the public
first
hearing?
Yeah, 13 days.
13 days.
Mhm.
So we could have a meeting 14 days from today or tomorrow, if you post it today.
But it also has to have newspaper publication 12 days before.
Okay, all right. So, why can't we do it on,
June 1st is, June 2nd is Monday.
Monday, so ballot should be.
July 1st is Tuesday.
but he wants to have a public hearing before the ballot.
well,
Right, we have.
it should be, where people vote on it, anyone, even absentee, should have that
Makes
hearing.
sense, yeah.
we're shooting on a 345 kV line right now?
So,
We're here.
So, we posted it.
I put it on the 30th
Do what?
of May. Public hearing.
I'm not gonna be here. You guys
I
do it.
wasn't going to, like, I won't. All right,
To get it in the paper this weekend, that's what you want to
What's,
think about.
what's,
First hearing.
I mean, what's the issue with having, are we too close to have the first public hearing
Thanks.
Monday, June 2,
That's good.
29th?
Look at all these ones.
No, ballots are-
Before the absentee ballots come out.
33.
That day, let's see.
Doesn't mean we have to stop.
Oh, no, we gotta get a lot more.
Well, they seem to think they have the money, but I don't see we should stop
No.
suggesting people donate.
Right.
This doesn't mean they can never
Give us a maintenance fund.
Yeah, or development.
Well, my worry
Maintenance
is we've got
fund.
to warrant.
See, that's,
Give us a maintenance
see, that
fund.
last week is Memorial Day.
Sorry, like, we keep putting money in.
First public hearing,
Right.
yeah.
Right, signage, trail maintenance.
If you post it today and send it to the mail,
Wouldn't hurt.
in the mail, how long does it take to get it into it? I know when I get it,
Batteries on this.
Yeah,
So
the
the
one, usually they,
21st, the first
within an
hearing
hour,
will be
so-
sufficient, right?
that way
If we
it's
get it in
easier
the
to
newspaper
check.
today, for this weekend.
Well,
That's
Get
13
it in the
days
newspaper today.
before the first hearing. I just
but the
emailed
newspaper's already gone out.
Yeah.
for the weekend.
for the weekend paper.
If it goes in the weekend paper, you need 13 days.
Right, so the 21st would be 13.
I'll let them do their
13th
stuff.
day.
Okay.
That would be the 24th, 13 days.
It's going in the paper on the 10th.
Say the weekend paper.
Okay.
So
13
count.
days from there is 23rd. And I thought you said it'd be 11 days after the.
And then the next hearing is the 7th day, right?
The newspaper is actually 12 and 7.
So the next,
13
So then I
days
would
is
post-
posted in the municipal office.
so post another hearing.
Well, we don't need another hearing, right? We just need one. That's all there is.
Yeah,
Unless it
for some reason
changes.
not to do it the last week of May, rather than really cut as close as you can, just give yourself a couple
Well,
of
they're both
days.
gonna be gone now.
I agree with that.
We're gonna be out of town. Carol and I both
Oh,
are
you're
gonna be out of
both gonna
town.
be out of town, okay.
The entire week.
The Memorial Day week.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
I'm not out the whole week, I'm out
Oh,
the
what about the
29th, 30th, and
Um,
the 31st.
And you're gone that whole week.
I'm going the whole week. But you can have it. I mean, doesn't mean you
You're,
can't have it.
and my understanding, you have kind of a joint public hearing. with the
Right.
planning board.
Okay. Because we did that the first time in 2010.
Do you have a problem with us doing it on the 23rd of May?
It should be the
If
24th.
you meet the
is
notice
24th.
requirements, I don't have a problem.
That's like cutting it close by a
That's
day or
very
two.
close.
24th or even 26th would be better.
Yeah. 26th is actually Memorial Day,
Pick it any
so.
day you want to in the last week, and I just won't be here.
It's not like we're voting on anything.
No, we're not
it's just a
voting, it's
hearing.
just,
Let's just
It's
do it
not-
then.
yeah,
Let's do the 27th.
Tuesday, the 27th,
27th?
does that work?
As long as it works for the planning board.
Eric,
It's
It
the
doesn't
day-
matter to me, you just tell us what you want us to do.
It's the
We'll
day
be
after
there.
Memorial Day, the 27th.
We'll be there.
Okay.
All right.
You call, we call.
public hearing. At 6 PM.
Are you ready to sign?
Public hearing at 6 PM. And then from that date, when do absentee ballots have to be ready by June 1st?
Back in every
Is
day.
that correct?
They'll be ready.
The second?
Vote on July.
Ready to go.
What, second?
And does that give us time to
And we'll vote on July
feed
1st.
our vote for July 1st, right? That's a Tuesday.
I was gonna say, it's only 30
Then
days.
let's back up one day on the hearing. I mean, we're cutting it close. Let's go the 26th.
That's
Yeah.
Memorial Weekend, yeah.
Okay, so let's move
Let's
the
go back
vote.
to the next
Let's move
week.
the vote out a week.
Change
We
it.
don't have to,
You gotta. I don't see that
because
there's
we're
any other
closed on
way.
the 4th. So let's just set it
Well, even
for-
if we move the vote to Wednesday, it gives us time.
Okay.
What day is Wednesday?
Wednesday is July 2nd.
Second. So just,
Well, I just want to do, kill more trees.
Huh?
Kill more trees.
yeah.
I know.
What?
Okay.
There's other dates.
So many days,
Yeah, exactly, let's move the vote.
do the absentee ballots?
What's that?
There's so many days after the
Abs-
public hearing?
The absentee ballots have to be ready 30 days before the vote.
I know.
No, the public hearing can stay the same.
You gotta take a gallon of white out to go through.
really?
A lot of pages.
Because from here to here is 29
I
days.
know.
Hard to
Why
do
can't
business
the
during
ballots
this time
go
period,
out?
Memorial Day,
Public-
4th of July.
Yes.
My wife gets us for all kinds of stuff, and I never,
Oh, families, because family time.
Well, they probably could.
Vacation time.
Cheryl
Get
never.
it all on the 30th? If we have
We
the
have a
public hearing on the 27th,
Can
then
you
what
have ballots out
is
on the 30th?
What's on the 30th?
What is it involved to do? I mean,
Just
we're at the
having the article written.
Yeah.
You need
On
to type it,
vacation
that's
time.
it.
Yeah, okay. All
I
right.
think the article's quite short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
nothing to
All right,
that.
so ballots out.
I did all that in 2 minutes.
So it's May 30th.
May 30th ballots go out.
Oh my God.
May 30th?
May 30th. Public hearing is going to be
27th.
the 27th.
And we're voting the 1st of July.
We're going
Voting
to
the
have,
1st of July.
the ballots go out the 30th, which is, will give us
Available.
30 days before absentee ballots out, which will give us 30 days before the vote
So
on,
that saves reprinting the ordinance.
yes,
Oh, so it's gonna be the first again?
Yes,
Not the-
yes.
July 1st.
No, it's gonna, yes, July 1st,
Pay attention, baby.
Tuesday.
Okay.
So we need to rescind the motion for the citizens petition. I make a motion we rescind that
Why are we doing
Why?
that?
because we have to change the date of
We
it.
can't change the date because it says right on it, it's gonna be the 10th.
Yeah, we can't change.
We can't change that.
So you're not gonna have these on the same day? I thought that was what everyone was saying.
It doesn't matter what they say. It says right on this petition,
That's
for
one.
the July 10th. We can't change it. We can't change that.
Is Paula wrong?
That's what everybody's on.
I think it's gonna be issues no matter if we changed it the same day or not day or whatever, so it's,
Well, we can't.
I thought we had some
We
sort
cannot
of a
change it.
right to tweak language.
These people signed this petition
That was one
that
question.
says exactly what this says. And you cannot change that,
How it's
because that's
written
what they
on.
agreed to, is what's written right there.
Right. I'm sure,
So
yeah.
we can't change it, you can't change it, nobody can change it.
That's why
Unless
we
you-
want to rescind it.
You wanna go back and take a 45-day all over again and get new ones. Otherwise, it's gonna be on the 10th.
okay, public hearing is the 19th.
What?
You don't have to put it on the 10th, but you can't change the language of the petition. I mean, you've already put it on the 10th, you've already voted that in.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to, if you were gonna not put it on the 10th, you'd have to rescind.
Okay, so we do have an option to put this on the same day that the LUO is voting on. I
You
thought
know what's
everyone-
written here, in here?
Can I see the writing of that
These
petition?
people signed this petition that it was gonna be voted on the 10th of June.
Because that was what was assumed when the LUO was gonna be voted on as well.
It doesn't make any difference if that's what you assume. Those people voted, signed that to say
Right.
they wanted it voted on the 10th of
They
June.
did say that.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you have to put it on the date that they demanded.
Really?
We can put it on a different day.
Yeah?
Okay, I think we should. I think these people did not sign that because it was gonna get voted on the 10th of June. I think they signed it because they wanted a 4,000-foot setback to be voted in on the same day as the LUO. That's just common sense. I mean, we could play technicalities.
Right, but then
but-
the thing is common sense though in a different way though, is how are we gonna figure out like which one supersedes what?
That's right.
I think they could both go together. This one is gonna supersede your setback from property lines,
Well,
and that's it.
then we'll just go reword it to say that it's the other way around. I mean, we have 45 days, we can just do that too. I'm just trying to say, don't you think it would be better just to have like one and then the other?
No, I don't, because I think the people of this town want to approve your LUO, but they also want this setback requirement.
Now, can I interject one thing? I've heard the people of this town too many times in important things. It's some people. This is what.
There's over 70 people that signed that.
What do they
And it
know?
wasn't based on the date of the
Yeah,
election.
47 people in this town.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying that this is not just a small group of people.
You know what, it's just like the thing is, we're gonna be in endless court anyway for all this because of the nature of the people involved, so just keep going. Just put it on the same day. I mean, we're gonna be in court no matter what, somebody's gonna be upset, we're gonna be in court, it doesn't matter.
I mean, do we really know that we have the ability to do that when they've signed a petition and?
I thought municipal
Whatever.
said that we could not change any
Any
of
other
the
I agree.
petition.
We're not
cannot
changing the
change-
date, we're not
you can't-
changing the language. We're saying we're gonna order it on to a different day, which Mr. Subcheck has said that we can do.
We planned on doing it the same day in the first place until like 9 o'clock last night, I thought that was what was gonna happen anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I think we do need to put this on for the same day. These issues go together.
Let me just say that regarding that last sentence, regarding this, this revision shall be effective from the date of enactment by the town, irrespective of any other land use ordinance revision. Revisions that are enacted on the same date, I don't know the effect of that sentence. And so that would be another reason where if you know, I wouldn't recommend that this pass. But I can't tell you if that's going to do what it says it wants to do, because there are laws regarding enactments on the same day having to do with where they are on the ballot, and I don't know if you can have something in your revision that's passed that supersedes something that isn't even passed yet. So if they're voted on the same day and they're both passed, I don't know what the effect of that's going to be.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to let the court decide, like the retroactivity clause as well.
We don't mind paying lawyers.
I
Guess not.
they complain about it every meeting, how much money we're spending.
I'd like to make a motion that we rescind the citizen petitions vote for June 10th. And then we'll make a motion after that, maybe, for both of these to be on the same ballot.
I just feel unclear about this without the authors and the other people here.
Yeah, now you wanna
Jessica is
change
here.
it.
Would you like to voice your opinion on what we do with this petition?
Same day, please. Same day, please.
Okay.
It was all, I think the authors of the petition assumed this would all get voted on the same day.
The language of the petition says what it says, and I don't think we can change it. I think the cleanest thing to do is you stick with what the petition says. It says once on June 10th, I would do it on June 10th.
That's what
Frankly,
makes me
it's
nervous.
the same
I'm not
thing as
gonna
I
vote to
thought
change it.